let's talk about UFOs, the ancient world, and Atlantis. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Oh, and before I get too far into the video, just to lead into it, I guess, I wanted to let you know that my new book is out. I'm a novelist, of course, if you didn't know that. I write fantasy and science fiction and horror novels. Jack Connor, you can find me on Amazon or pretty much wherever books are sold. And my new book is out. And what else am I going to call it? But Cosmic Road. That's right. But don't worry, it's not the fictionalized version or the real version of the history of the podcast. It's actually a science fiction fantasy adventure about a bounty hunter who gets swept up into cosmic events. It's a lot of fun. It's like Pulp Fiction, just action and fun with some mystical undertones, a little trippy here and there. It's a good time if you like fantasy and science fiction. So if you want to support the channel, go check it out. It's actually, the name of the book is The Bounty, Part 1 of the Cosmic Road series. Yeah, I've got Cosmic Roads on the brain, but that's actually the plot of the novel because the bounty hunter in question goes on the Cosmic Road. It's a fun ride, so go check it out. I will link to it on Amazon in the comments and in the description below. So go check out Cosmic Road. Okay, all right, moving on to the story. The ancient world is deeply interesting to me, and I think very important in what it means to the UFO conversation. This is a great thread by Bruce Fenton talking about the links between Australian Aboriginals and places like Göbekli Tepe. Right, the famous Pillar 43 from Göbekli Tepe, and left sacred art from Ahim Land, Northern Australia. The one on the left is older. There are two interesting stories, the meaning of that bird and ball and how that same sacred art appeared millennia later, thousands of miles away across the ocean. Yeah, what is going on here? How are these two things linked? Why is there, some sort of cultural link between the peoples of Australia and the ancient peoples of Turkey? Is this Atlantis? Is that what we're talking about? Were the humans, the regular humans of the time capable of global, shipbuilding and movement and that sort of thing? Could they do that? Is there a mundane explanation for this? Personally, I think this is an argument in favor of Atlantis, but you could also argue that they're getting this knowledge from beings, right? From NHI, from UFOs. So very, very interesting. And here in the symbolism found on Aboriginal Chiringa and in body art appears on various pillars at Göbekli Tepe. While these examples are not identical, it is obvious that we are dealing with symbols sharing a common root. And he links to this image here from Göbekli Tepe and these, Aboriginal symbols, which indeed look very similar. And he goes on, there's various other links. This was a really interesting one right here because it depicts, what might be a pregnant woman giving birth. It might, indicate something less human. He says, it is well established that Göbekli Tepe has a glaring absence of female art. However, one image of a presumed goddess is known from the Lion Building. These engravings, here we go, has two essential features. The first is the position, which indicates childbirth. The female genitalia are prominent and cartoonish. The second feature is the head, which appears almost like a mushroom. However, returning to Northern Australia, here we see her represented in the same birthing position, including exaggerated genitalia. What looks like a mushroom is none other than a sacred yam leaf, often depicted instead of her head. It's a very similar images. Again, one in ancient Turkey and one in ancient Australia. Very interesting connections, that there are multiple of these connections in the art between those peoples. What does this mean? Clearly, there is some sort of cultural connective tissue that mainstream science or history is not accounting for, and they might actively be covering it up. And I'll let you read the full thread at your leisure. Lots of good stuff in there. Obviously, the handbags of the gods are super interesting, found, in various artworks in the old world, but also found in the new world. This is from, this is from Mexico, the Olmec site of La Venta in Tabasco, Mexico. So, how in the world do you get the ancient handbags depicted in Mexico, in South America, and also in the old world? And there's, many other connections we can make between the old world and the new world, and also Australia. There is obviously something like Atlantis, unless we're saying that this connection is caused by NHI. That, NHI was visiting various peoples and sharing various knowledge, including various motifs and symbolism and themes, or heck, just actual handbags, right? But whether it was Atlantis that was providing this link, or whether it was NHI, these disparate civilizations around the world had some sort of commonality, had some sort of connective tissue that we do not understand. And if we could understand it, I think we'd be much further along to understanding where we are now, where we're going, and of course our connections to the UFO topic. And what does this tell us about giants? Yeah, it seems like they were seeing giants back then. Of course they were. Giants, are probably still around, but they were probably much more prevalent back in the day. And I say they're still around because of, stories like the Kandahar giant story. But definitely they were more prevalent back in the day. And here is potentially a depiction of a giant holding up some dead lions or something. These are supposedly feline animals, and this is a very large being holding these guys up, depicted in the ancient art. We have other other giant action going on over here, if I can find it. Give me a moment. We have the footprint, one of the best footprints of not just a regular giant, but a super giant. This thing is huge. If this thing is real, if that is indeed a real footprint of a giant, wow. Can you imagine how big that guy was? This is Michael Tellinger standing next to what he says is a prehistoric giant footprint in South Africa. That is just crazy. That is crazy huge, guys. Crazy huge. Speaking of the handbags of the gods, we've got these fish guys from ancient Sumer, who may be depictions of something like Atlanteans, the myth of the civilization bringer that comes over the sea, which you see in multiple cultures around the world. And these guys are depicted holding the handbags. Well, the symbol is very similar to a symbol used by the American Indians, says Sergei Goroshko. Check out this very interesting similar symbolism. It's not exact, but it is very, very compelling. You have, a circle in the middle, and you've got this, figure with the things coming off of it and the thing on the bottom, and you have these two guys standing, at either side of it. Now, this one isn't as nice. These may be a head hunting culture, and they may be about to take a head there. These guys seem like maybe they're slightly less headhunting-y, I guess, but still a very interesting possible connection. They seem to be representing different things, but it's interesting if they are representing different things that they're using much the same symbology. That is really fascinating. And of course, different places around the world were using the same techniques and similar architectural motifs and even technology. This is in Asia Minor, Lebanon, Peru, and Egypt. You can see these grooves. And of course, there are other channels that will take you through all the commonalities and the, anomalies that seem to, be suggested by these various cultures around the world using similar architectural styles and even tools. How did that happen, guys? How did that happen on their own, independently of each other? It's just, yeah, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And of course, you have depictions of non humans. You've got these guys, these winged looking fellows, depicted in Japan, Utah, and Azerbaijan. Now, it's interesting that they are represented very similarly around the world. And I don't know if that means they're seeing the same thing and depicting it, or if they're basing this off of some sort of symbol used by some other culture like Atlantis or NHI, using this symbol, and they are recreating this symbol because it's so similar to each other. I'm not sure if they would depict it that way. If they were seeing these beings in life, they might depict it very differently from each other, but you would still see a recognizable, familiar being. But since they're all depicting it in the very similar ways, I wonder if they're actually basing this off of an existing symbol and less off of something they're seeing in life. But that's just speculation. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, the ancient world is amazing. I would love to understand what the heck is going on there. Of course, the pyramids are super fascinating. Pyramids around the world. There are pyramids in China, a buried secret in China that, the Chinese government will not investigate and is actively covering up, planting trees on these things, refusing to investigate. They also refuse to investigate the Terra mummies, which are very, very interesting, and we need to know more about that culture. They don't seem to have been connected to the pyramid builders, but that shows that we know very little of ancient China and the anomalies, anyway, of ancient China. What were those pyramids? What were they doing? And were the pyramids of Egypt used as energy generators? Well, there is a aerospace engineer that says they are, and there's many people that have made this theory, and they have various theories about how it was that the pyramids, or especially the Great Pyramid, was used as an energy generator. But that is, a common feature among a lot of researchers, and even some experiencers and remote viewers have seen this. Dick Algire and Daz Smith did a great remote viewing of ancient Egypt and the Great Pyramid. And yeah, they were saying that it was some sort of energy generator and that NHI were involved. But yeah, this guy, retired aerospace engineer Christopher Dunn, elaborated on his theory in an interview with Joe Rogan. Dunn suggested that the Egyptian civilization might have utilized chemical reactions to produce hydrogen, which could have served as an energy source. According to the hypothesis, this process was intricately integrated into the pyramid's design. He said, that's a part of the theory in the Giza power plant. There are two chemicals that are introduced into the chamber, and the chemicals mix and they boil off hydrogen, creating energy. I don't think there's any part of that pyramid that did not serve a practical function. Dunn emphasized that every detail of the Great Pyramid served a functional purpose. He highlighted the ancient Egyptians' profound knowledge and understanding of physics, which enabled them to create such a precise architectural marvel. Yeah, the pyramids were amazing. Maybe they did generate energy. A lot of people seem to think that. One of my favorite people in the UFO and metaphysical space is Matthias de Stefano, who recalls a past life lived in Atlantis. And he'll talk about it. He can sing songs in Atlantis. He can write in Atlantean. And he says, yeah, the pyramids the hub of all the pyramids around the world were in Atlantis, and they were giving off energy and connecting all the pyramids in the world with like energy lines and ley lines, that sort of thing. But when Atlantis turned dark, when the evil powers rose up and kind of co-opted the colonies of Atlantis, then the colonies then turned against mainland or the island of Atlantis, the main Atlantis, although there's probably multiple hubs of Atlantean civilization. Anyway, that's the story, as the colonies turned against the island, destroyed it using the pyramids, and sunk Atlantis. So who knows what the actual truth of all of that is? I do believe there's vast amounts of evidence showing that various cultures around the world were connected in some strange, crazy way. There seems to have been NHI involved in a lot of this. A lot of these different cultures were seeing beings and depicting them in their artwork, and I've shown many examples of that in past videos. But there also seems to have been some sort of human civilization connecting the dots. There may be even multiple human civilizations, Lemuria, Atlantis, various other lost civilizations, possibly going back, hundreds of thousands of years. We just don't know. As Graham Hancock says, we are a species with amnesia. But let me know your theories about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Smash the bell to be notified of future videos. And, buy a book. Again, see the link below. I think you're going to have a good time with this if you enjoy fantasy, adventure, science fiction, and that sort of thing. So yeah, grab a book to support the channel. Coffee mugs, t-shirts, become a channel member. And I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.